Okay, so today's story is something that will literally blow your minds. If you guys read the title of this video, yes, I don't know how this ended up happening, nor do I want to know. Well, to be honest, I do know because, well, I'm going to tell you the story. And today's story does get insane, so make sure you guys do leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. But anyways, let's get straight into this insane story. Yo, what is going on, you guys? My name is Bubba, and welcome back to another, well, crazy story. So today's story is basically something that I need to tell you guys for a while now. To be honest, I was going to tell the story a long time back when I told the story about me doing it on the Ferris wheel. Yes, I did the Devil's Tango on the Ferris wheel, and I was ready to tell the next story the next day about how I did it on a roller coaster. But honestly, knowing how that video did, and a lot of people are confused on how in the world this ended up happening, well, this is when I tell you this story is actually nuts. Now, this story starts off back when I was in high school. You see, in high school, it was my grade 10 year, and it was towards the end of the year. And what a lot of schools like to do is they like to make some sort of event or some sort of fun, exciting moment so that the school is more quiet when the grade 12s have to take like their finals and tests to basically determine if they're going to what college and stuff. But that aside, I remember basically I was actually super excited to go to amusement park. With going with basically all the grade 10s and basically everyone in my grade, all of us being in an amusement park would be, well, really dope. So I remember basically me and my friends, we were discussing how this whole trip was gonna be like when the teacher announced it originally. And I remember one of my friends ended up saying, dude, like we should definitely like go with a girl. So like at the end of the year, like they'll like remember us for like that trip, you know what I mean? So like they'll talk about it like all summer with us. I don't really know what he was getting at, but basically one thing led to another. He just wanted to go to an amusement park with a chick. No, honestly, it's not a bad idea, and I don't blame him. And knowing this, like honestly, I was kind of on board with it. Because let's be real here, guys, all guys want to hang out with girls. That's just the common sense. That's just the science of human nature. Unless you don't like girls, then you're swinging in a different ballpark. But you know what? That's not the point. Anyways, going on though, I remember basically I was talking to my friend, and he was basically getting everything planned. He was hitting up girls on Snapchat trying to figure out who would go with who. But I remember I had different plans. I remember there was one girl in my school that was madly, well, kind of already into me. Now, I didn't like, 100% know if she was actually into me or not yet, to be honest. Because, I was like flirting with her here and there during the school year, but it never really determined if she liked me or not, nor did it determine if I liked her or not fully until like towards the end of the year when I was like, you know what? This girl has really nice cherries. I'm just going to hit her up. So I remember I ended up going on my phone on Snapchat, and I ended up DMing her saying, yo, I just wanted to mention, like, you're actually really cute. I literally told her that out of thin air. I don't know how she took it. I couldn't imagine her looking at her phone just thinking, huh, wow, this guy who DM'd me all throughout the school year is suddenly interested in me. Yeah, kind of awkward. But you know what? That's not the point, I guess. I don't know. The main thing was that I was basically trying to tell her that I'm interested in her and basically, hey, ride on a roller coaster with me. That's kind of like the main basis of what I was trying to get at here. So I remember basically when I ended up messaging her, I literally got a message back instantly saying, oh, like, thanks. Like, I thought you were cute too. Great, is what I ended up texting her back. And then afterwards, one thing led to another. We ended up messaging each other for the entire school day. And then I remember towards the end of the school day, me and her, we ended up actually meeting up and walking home together. I didn't have my car at this time because, well, I was in grade 10. So obviously I wouldn't have a car because I didn't get my car until grade 11. But you guys know what I mean. I basically ended up walking home with her, and we basically, started talking and stuff and being flirtations and stuff. And it seemed like we were already dating. It sounds cringe, but I think everyone in high school understands, like, that feeling when it feels like you're already dating a chick, even though like nothing's really official. I don't know. It's like the go-to word for like when, like, for example, you're talking to a chick, but then a hotter chick comes along and you're like, oh, like it's not official. I don't know. I've done that many times in my life. I think that's why my Devil's Tango body count's so high, but that's not the point. Anyways, going on with the story, I remember basically the next day, it was a Friday, and the school needed to be like basically deserted for the grade 12s to do the testing. So I remember when we got to the school, instantly there was a bus there that we all had to hop on. Every grade 10 and 9 and 11, I believe, were on those buses, and it was super cool seeing like all of us from one school collide into one bus. Well, not one bus, it was actually 3 different buses, but it was cool seeing all the grade 10s in our school on one bus. It's like seeing like your high school graduation or high school reunion all together in one, because like there's some people that you're friends with, some people you don't really care about, and some people that you haven't seen in a long time. It's actually kind of nuts. Have you guys like ever like seen a friend in the beginning of the school year but then never see them till the end of the school year? That's basically what it was for all of us. Anyways, I remember we ended up going there, and we ended up like, basically heading over to the amusement park. And when we got there, I remember we all got this cool like pass to determine what grade we're in, and basically all this stuff about, safety and what group to go to if you're ever in trouble, all that stuff that teachers try to put onto us, even though we never really listened to them. And I remember basically I ended up instantly hanging out with the chick that I was hanging out with the day before, and me and her were just walking around basically flirting and doing our thing. To be honest, I totally ended up dipping on my friend group, which sounds like a non-bro code thing to do, but I'm gonna be real here. Me and this girl were already like majorly talking to the point where I'm not gonna lie, last night I got some some photos, if you know what I mean. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. So I was like, you know what? Like, this girl's actually really hot. W. So I remember me and her, we were walking around and we were just basically flirting around the amusement park. And then one thing led to another. We ended up going on a bunch of different rides. We went from rides on going to, like, you know, the elevator to, you know, basic simple teacup rides and even bumper cars. But I think it ended up becoming that one part of the amusement park trip where me and her, we actually ended up walking around the amusement park holding hands. Literally everyone in the school thought we were basically a couple, or everyone that was in the amusement park thought we were a couple. But then this is where things get really sus. I remember this girl, as she was walking around with me, she ended up telling me, Bubba, like, I'm really thirsty. So I ended up pulling out my water bottle out of my backpack that I usually carried around. But then afterwards, she ended up drinking the water, well, really awkwardly. I don't know how to explain it to you guys, but basically, like, her tongue was like going around the rim of the water bottle. You guys know what I mean? Like, I don't really know how to explain it. It sounds sus. YouTube, don't demonetize this video. I'm just trying to explain this the best way possible. And then one thing led to another. I'm not gonna lie, she ended up walking around with me, but she was kind of like getting super handsy in the lineups. Like, she would literally like sometimes like stroke and grab my eggplant once in a while. It would get to the point where sometimes she would even, like, you know, give me a kiss on the cheek. Like, she was really in the mood, okay? She wanted to do the devil's tango. And me being a dumb high schooler in grade 10, I'm not gonna lie, I get bricked up super easily. Like, no joke, it was like I was Professor X taking over the mind control of my eggplant. I just knew when to make it rise and when to make it fall. It was like my own little elevator. Actually, it wasn't so little, but that's not the point. Going on, I remember basically me and her, we decided to go on this ride that was a roller coaster. And when we were in the lineup, I remember this girl got really handsy with me, and I remember basically one thing led to another. I ended up grabbing her cherries, and, you know, it became really awkward. I remember other people in the lineup were actually looking at us thinking, okay, like, yeah, I don't really want to go on this ride anymore, because if they're gonna be like all like that, that's kind of weird. Like, you know those people like in like high school that basically like make out in the hallway and stuff? That was basically us, but at the amusement park. Actually, that sounds really gross. Going on though, I remember basically one thing led to another. We ended up going on the ride, but we saw that a lot of people weren't going on the specific roller coaster because for some reason there was like problems with it. But honestly, I didn't really care. I had a hot chick beside me, so I ended up going on this roller coaster with her. And when we went on the ride, I remember partway through, out of nowhere, the ride ended up stopping. It ended up stopping on top of like the big drop that usually most roller coasters have to give you like an adrenaline rush. And I remember basically I'm looking down at this roller coaster thinking, oh man, okay. And I ended up laying back on my seat thinking, how long are we gonna be up here? I remember I look over at the girl and she's just beside me and she's just like, oh, like, what a view. Like, she's just adoring the view, thinking like this is some romantic scene from a movie. And I remember I look at her and I'm just like, you know, have my arm around her. I'm just chilling, you know, trying to play it cool, thinking, oh yeah, you know, totally cool. It's totally natural to, you know, be stuck on a roller coaster. You know, all roller coasters have this. And I remember this girl just looks at me and she just looks at the ground and she's like, oh, like, are we actually like stuck? I thought this was part of like the view. No, roller coasters don't stop for no reason. No, is what I ended up telling her. But then afterwards, I remember she decided to make this a thing of opportunity and got really close to me. She got close to me and started like basically like kind of like putting her hand on my thigh, and one thing led to another. Well, she was unbuckling my pants. And yeah, let's just say I ended up getting another ride called the Gluck Gluck 9000. I didn't know it was part of the ride, but it made sense. And me and her, we ended up basically doing the devil's tango up on the top of the roller coaster. I don't know how to explain this in the most weirdest way possible. And if anyone's asking, oh, like, what about the people behind you on the ride? Like, didn't they see everything? Well, no, because like I said earlier, a lot of people felt uncomfortable during the lineup and ended up leaving. So I think there was like other people on the ride, but they were like 4 or 5 seats away from us. And like, reminder, we were in the very front. So like we had the really nice view. And since we were so high up, if people from below looked up, well, they wouldn't really be able to see anything other than a head just bobbling up and down. Yeah, that sounds really bad. I shouldn't say this story. What am I doing? Anyways, that's not the point. Going on though, I remember basically after like 20 minutes, I ended up, you know, doing the devil's creep and doing my thing. And then yeah, I remember there was a guy from down below yelling up above saying, all right guys, the ride's gonna start soon. So I remember when he yelled that, I ended up buckling up my pants as fast as I could, and one thing led to another. I ended up basically going down the roller coaster, getting extra wind going down to my eggplant because I forgot to zip up my zipper. I mean, I don't know, I guess everyone needs a good breeze. And I remember when I got off the roller coaster, this chick like ended up wiping her mouth and she just didn't say anything, and me and her were basically just like looking at each other thinking, wow, we really did that on a roller coaster. It was pretty awkward, but at the same time, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I kind of enjoyed it. What is going on, you guys? My name's Bubba, and welcome back to another crazy story. So today's story starts off back in high school. You see, back in high school, you guys would already know if you guys watch enough of this channel that I was the ultimate F-boy, the master of the devil's tango. And this was my grade 11 year. And this was like fully me into my grade 11 year. And honestly, if you guys may know, I always talk about me and the boys and us doing crazy things. And I think this was a part of our crazy thing. But at the same time, it kind of was just planning something fun. on, let me explain. You see, back when I was in high school in grade 11, I had the group called the boys. We're just gonna call them that because let's be real here, I'm not gonna say their real names on the internet. I'm not exposing people. It's not my job yet. But anyways, like I was saying, so basically, me and the boys were all planning a trip. We all wanted to go do something, and we all wanted to, you know, basically have fun this Halloween, because this was around October-ish. And usually every Halloween down here in Vancouver, we have a thing called Playland. And Playland decides to host this thing where it's like spooky, scary Fright Night, you know, all like scary looking stuff around the amusement park. I don't know, it's like how Disneyland themes Christmas, but Playland themes scary monsters with no big peepees. Yeah, there you go. Let's just go with that. So going on, me and the boys were planning going to Fright Night, but honestly, we didn't want to go alone without anybody. Like, we kind of wanted to like group up with like a group of girls to go with, because, you know, your boys slides like that, you know, it's just better. I don't know, if you guys don't understand why, you guys will get it as you guys get into high school, or if you guys are already in high school and get it, you feel me, dog? You feel me? But no, seriously though, so we decided to talk to a bunch of chicks in school, and we started like, walking around and stuff, and honestly, my friend had a girlfriend at the time, and he's like a part of our group, and he basically invited her and her friends, and I'm not gonna lie, her friends weren't that good looking. Like, they were decent, like they weren't like bad. Honestly, one of them ended up being like taller than me. I don't know, it was very interesting, but we'll get to her after. Going on, I remember we all planned to go to Fright Night, and we all wanted to go and stuff, so I remember we went back to my friend's house before we left to go to the amusement park. We met up at his place, and we all started drinking. Yes, we started drinking before we went into an amusement park. I know, kind of dumb, but at the same time, kind of worth it. So we started to pre-drink, we drank a bit, and you know, we just kept going back to back. But after a while, I remember when we were headed there with the bus, we did not drive, we took the bus. But as we headed there with the bus, I'm not gonna lie, I started feeling dizzy. I got tired, I was exhausted, like I already didn't want to go. But then when we got there, I remember we met up with like this chick's friend group that she brought along so we could hang out with. And I'm not gonna lie, two of the chicks were really hot, but one of them was like really off-putting. And I'm not gonna lie, I kind of got stuck with that one. Yeah, great. So going on, so me and her were like kind of like, you know, chilling. We started like going in lineups and going to like haunted houses and stuff, and started playing little games and stuff and all that weird things you guys would usually see in a movie. Except I would never, you know, if I won a prize, the prize is mine. Like, I'm not gonna give it to you because it's my prize. Other than that, so we were doing all these games and stuff, and we were walking around, and I remember we went to get food. And obviously around this time, I'm not gonna lie, my pre-drinking game was like already like kind of like slowing down. Like, I wasn't even that like in the mood, I guess you guys should say. Like, I wasn't like drunk anymore, or intoxicated. Can I even say that on YouTube? Can I say drunk? No, but like I was like actually like fine and everything, and this girl was like always like leaning towards me and stuff. And as I started to sober up more and more, I started realizing like, okay, yeah, this chick likes me, like that's great. But I don't know, as I started to sober up more, this girl started to look like eventually more pretty, and I don't know what was going on. Like dude, honestly, my mind was like haunted. Okay, kind of weird for the story being around Halloween time, but it was kind of haunted. Later on, as we started to sober up, me and the rest of the guys were also sobering up at the time, I should probably mention. We started going on rides. We went on, you know, roller coasters. We went on this thing called the Beast, which is like a big swingy scary thingy. Very scary, I don't like it, but you know, just big rides and big scary things. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm not the best at like riding things, unless, you know, they're riding me. Sorry, never mind. Anyways, let's keep going. So yeah, we were just on the amusement park, and we were just going around, you know, like I said, we were doing the rides. And when we did most of the rides, I remember we all like started to split up with like the chick we were with. So my friend went with his girlfriend, another friend of mine went with one of his friends, you know, like all that stuff. Like, we all started to split up. And when we all started to split up, I was stuck with the girl that I thought wasn't like the most attractive, but like, you know, she was like attractive. Like, she had lips on her, and me and her did not know at all what to do. All I know is that this girl was just leaning on to me, just, you know, being the girl that she thought I wanted her to be, which is like, you know, attached to me and stuff. You guys will get it over time. But she was like really getting close to me and stuff, and, you know, doing all that. And me, I had no idea what to do until I saw it. The one thing that could change this whole thing for me, the Ferris wheel. Now, I know what you guys are thinking. Oh my goodness, this is where the story gets really good and Bubba gets that devil's tango. And yeah, you're not wrong. That basically sums it up. But, you know, here on the Bubba channel, we actually like to explain how it gets to that point. So let me explain. Basically, I remember when we were on the lineup to the Ferris wheel, I remember like all our friends started to disperse and stuff, like I said earlier. But as they started to disperse, they kind of looked back and saw me and this chick going on the Ferris wheel. And honestly, most people, when they go on the Ferris wheel together, they're either gonna heavily make out, or they're just gonna sit there and be really awkward and look at each other. That's what I thought was gonna happen, actually, funny enough. But this chick was so on to me, dude. Like, I have no way to explain it, but she was so on to me, to the point where she, like, basically when we got on the Ferris wheel, she like held my hand into it. And at that point, like, I even remember like seeing the person who, like, you know, puts people on the ride, that kind of like look at me going like, okay, okay. Like, he even told me how much time we had to go from the bottom of the loop all around. Like, this man thought I was gonna time it. But no, basically we got on there and it started going, and it goes really slowly, this Ferris wheel. It doesn't go like super fast or anything. Like, it's not like one of those cool swinging ones they have at Disneyland. Like, these are just a basic Ferris wheel that goes around and takes like maybe like at most like 10 minutes, maybe. Usually likes to stop when like people are at the top, but I don't know. Anyway, so we were on that Ferris wheel and we were going around slowly. And as we were going around, I remember when we reached the like halfway point on the left side, this girl, she was like cuddling up against me. She put her hand on my thigh, and at that moment I knew someone was gonna go on. I was like, okay, let's think this through. How much time do I really have? And as I was thinking that through, this girl was already on her damn knees, and she was already, you know, doing the devil's head. And at that point, I'm like, okay, this is really awkward, because I could see from the people on the top, like literally on the tippy top, looking down at me and her just between like her head between my legs. Like, it was really awkward. But as she was going ham on that, I remember thinking, okay, it's fine. I kind of like used my jacket to like cover up my yeah, but going on, that kept going, you know, it went on for a bit, and after that we reached the top. And when we were at the tippy top, I remember I straight up bent this girl over, and bippity boppity boo, we did the devil's tango, and that happened for a bit. After that, I remember the Ferris wheel went down the halfway point, and we did the same thing as we did on the other left side, and that was the devil's head. And after that, we came back to the bottom, we were all closed up, and we pretended nothing happened. We walked out until when I thought the coast was clear. I remember seeing this little kid, I think he was like 13 maybe, walk up to me and give me a fist bump, and he said, "Good stuff, dude," and fist bumps me. Oh my god, did I really just do it in front of a 13-year-old? That was my first thought, to be honest with you guys. But honestly, over time I really started thinking, god, can my life get any more awkward? I don't know, it was just a really awkward experience, guys, and all I'm gonna say is that this chick, she had no problem with it. She had full pride in doing it, and honestly, if she was happy, I was happy. Move on, so forth. All right, what is going on, you guys? My name is Bubba, and welcome back to another insane story. So this story takes place back, actually, funny enough, 2 years ago. At this age, I remember I was basically supposed to be getting a job and basically getting ready for college, but me, I didn't do any of that, because my dream was to become a YouTuber, and thanks to you guys, that dream came true. But having so much free time on my hands after recording a bunch of videos, I remember I would always like to go out and hang out with friends. But then I remember one time when me and all my friends were just sitting in a car, bored as hell. My friend ended up looking at us saying, "Yo, bro, why don't we go to a water park?" What? A water park? We were all super confused on why he said that, but then he ended up saying, "Dude, trust me, bro, it's summertime and a lot of hot girls go to the water park. You don't want to miss it, bro." And at that point, I remember all of us looked at each other and we took his word for it. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I'm not gonna say no to a cool water park. Going on from there, I remember basically we all ended up going home, getting our swim trunks on, and basically getting ready to go to the water park. I also remember I texted some girls to see if they want to go to the water park with me, because there was no way that I was really gonna risk going to a water park and not seeing any girls, because I'm gonna be honest, I'm not really the water park kind of guy, if you know what I mean. Anyways, I remember basically we all got ready, and when we did, we all ended up driving down to the water park, and we got there a bit early. I remember when we were there, it was like 3 in the afternoon, and there were a lot of kids in the water park, and me, as a 19-year-old at the time, I didn't think it was really cool to go inside the water park when there's a bunch of children inside. Like, in my opinion, that's kind of weird. So I remember I kind of just held back and started going on my phone and scrolling through TikTok. But as I was doing that, I remember out of nowhere, around like 5:30, so 2 hours later, a bunch of little kids ended up leaving the water park, and the sky was getting dark. I remember as the sky was getting dark, me and my friends were looking at each other thinking it was time to go home, but the water park was still on. We were really confused at first, and then my buddy ends up telling all of us, "Dude, trust me, man, this is where things get good. Just watch what's gonna happen." And then out of nowhere, boom, a Jeep pulls up into the parking lot with a bunch of girls on it, and there were like 7 girls just going into the water park in their bikinis. It was like a scene straight out of Baywatch. It was so majestic and so awesome to see those cherries jiggle as they go into the water park. I was actually surprised. And I remember as we were seeing this go down, me and the boys got really excited. And I think some of us got bricked up, but I'm not sure. I wasn't looking, I swear. Later on, I remember I was like basically going around the water park, running around, having fun, and also I got my water gun to shoot at, you know, people with. I guess you could say I was kind of the rebel. And as I was shooting people with them, I remember some girls would end up chasing me because I accidentally shot them, and it was actually pretty cool to get chased by girls. I literally felt like I was in grade 5 again. That sounds weird, but you guys know what I mean. After a bit though, I remember me and my friends, we ended up grouping up with these group of girls, and we all basically started hanging out together. We all ate together, we all chilled together, and at the same time, we all just started hanging out at the water park getting soaking wet. And don't get me wrong, I like getting girls wet, but this was a whole different thing. Actually, okay, that sounded really weird. YouTube, don't demonetize this video. know. Anyways, going on with the story, I remember after a while, a lot of the girls were getting cold and they ended up putting their towels on and basically laying down on the grass. And me and the boys, we all ended up hanging out with them because we were all basically becoming friends at that point. But I remember there was one girl in this group that was, well, really, how do I put this, thirsty. It became so awkward when me and her started talking to each other because she would always bring up random stuff like, so like, you have a really nice six-pack. Oh my God, you're so attractive. Like, look at you. And I remember it became super weird to the point where I remember I told her, hey, yo, listen, you need to chill. Like, you know, like, I get you like me, but like, gotta relax. I remember when I said that, one of her friends ended up coming up to me saying, okay, dude, listen, she's literally into you and we already know that you're bricked up from looking at us. So just like, go hang out with her. At this point, it sounded like I was being peer pressured to literally go do the devil's tango with her. And then I remember I basically told them, okay, yo, chill. Listen, I think she's cute. Yeah, but like, you know, don't push me into it. I remember all the girls ended up rolling their eyes at me and ended up walking away. These girls were really sassy, and I'm not gonna lie, I thought high school was behind them, but it seemed like they still act like high schoolers. And yes, all of them were above the age of 19, by the way. Don't get it twisted, all right, guys? Anyways, going on, I remember afterwards, I started hanging out with the girl that really liked me, and I ended up adding her on Snapchat. And when I did, I remember me and her were just sitting beside each other, just talking about life and talking about what we wanted to do. I remember she ended up telling me that how she wants to become a doctor and all this stuff, like most girls want to, I guess. And then I remember I ended up telling her my dream of becoming a YouTuber, and as usual, she ended up saying, oh, okay, that's pretty cute, I guess. Whatever that means, like, sure, whatever. And then I remember it got to the point where the water park ended up turning off, and a lot of people started leaving. The boys started leaving, and at the same time, her friend group started leaving. But then afterwards, I remember I told her, hey, if you want to stay longer, like, I can just drive you back home. Because at this point, I was actually getting into her, and she was actually, like, you know, actually really hot. And then I remember she ends up looking at me saying, oh, I have to go to the bathroom. So I remember she ended up getting up and going to the bathroom. I thought, to be honest, she was ditching me, so I ended up getting my towel and putting my shirt back on and getting ready to leave. But as I was heading for my car, I remember I saw this girl ended up sending me a Snapchat of her in the bathroom, and it was literally a photo of her cherry saying, you want to enjoy these tonight? At that point, I already knew I was in, but there was no way I was going to take her to her house because she has parents at home, and I also have parents at my house. So I remember afterwards, I ended up walking up to the girl afterwards when she came out of the bathroom saying, yo, listen, I don't know how we're going to do this, but like, I'm not going to lie to you. Like, I can't take you back to my place. So I was being brutally honest. And if I'm being real with you guys, I was planning not even to do the devil's tango at all. But then I remember she said, well, I mean, I just canceled my ride. So like, you want to just go do it in the water park instead? Like, why not? Like, we might as well just do it at the water park. No one's there. Okay, I guess is what I told her. And then me and her, we ended up going to the water park and we literally ended up doing the devil's tango while we were standing on hard cement and basically doing it. It was pretty awkward at first, but I'm not gonna lie, since it was really late at night and the water park was off, it was not like, you know, we were gonna get caught. So I remember we just kept doing it and it became like half an hour later. And then one thing I realized is that randomly out of nowhere, the park lights turned on and we were freaking out. It was weird because it was only like 10 p.m. at night. And for some reason the lights came on and it was super awkward because I remember me and her just started looking at each other thinking, okay, it's maybe time to go. So I remember I ended up going to my car and she ended up coming in my car with me and basically ended up driving her home. I drove her straight home and then afterwards she ended up telling me, I had a lot of fun today. Good, I hope so, is what I told her. And then afterwards she ended up getting out of my car, coming up to my window and then making out with me through my car door. Pretty awkward, but then she ended up leaving, going back to her house, and yeah, I guess that was basically it. I remember I ended up driving home and I ended up telling the boys what happened and none of them believed me, but you know what? It is what it is. Anyways, guys, that's basically it for today's story. So make sure you guys do leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Seriously, means a lot when you guys do. And on top of that, join the Discord server down below. And like I always say, follow for more embarrassing but crazy stories. All right, peace out, guys.